8 films. 8. Mission Impossible, if it wasn't already, I mean, it definitely was, but it is probably one of the biggest ongoing film series right now, and Final Reckoning follows on from 2023's Dead Reckoning. I mean, this was originally Dead Reckoning Part 2, and then after the release of Dead Reckoning, this changed. I don't really know why. I think like after a year it was changed, and then they actually went with Final Reckoning as the title. But at the end of Dead Reckoning, it does say end of part one or something like that, or like this is part one, end of part, something like that. I watched the film yesterday as well, and I still don't remember. But yeah, this is a part two. I do like this series. I do. I'm a little touch and go with the first three. I think a lot of people are. Overall, to me, they're fine. Like, they're fine films. The first one's fine, the third one's fine. I don't really like number two, like a lot of people. But I recently had a chat with a co-worker, and we said you can very easily split the Mission Impossible films down the middle in like an eras sort of way. You got the first three, the next four. The second four are clear in quality over the first three. Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, I think are really, really good films. Fallout is my favourite. It's one of the best action films of the 2010s, in my opinion. Probably the turn of the century. Big claim, I know. But that's just how I feel about Mission Impossible Fallout. Like, I genuinely think it's a very, very, very good action film. And I did like Dead Reckoning quite a bit. Step down from Fallout, but when you have a film as good as Fallout released, it's so hard to top that one and have the same quality. So, in a way, I think we sort of expected Dead Reckoning to be not as good as Fallout. But this does make me think, where does Final Reckoning fit in with all of this? As always, this will be a spoiler-free review. No spoilers around here. Not all about that stuff. Unless it's a Marvel film, because I genuinely can't keep my mouth shut. Same with DC. If it's Marvel and DC, they probably will be spoilers, but I'll say. But here, no. You're all good. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning follows on from Dead Reckoning, where Ethan Hunt and his team must find a way to stop the AI known as the Entity, which can take control of the whole world and cause Armageddon. This is the thing I've said countless times. It is a part two. You will need to have watched Dead Reckoning to try and have any gauge in what's happening. Watching the first might also help as well. I don't really think you need to do that, but they do have a few callbacks there. But you will need to watch Dead Reckoning. If you haven't, you probably will struggle to keep up. But yeah, you will need to watch Dead Reckoning. I mean, you will struggle if you haven't seen the first one to catch up. They do try to explain what's going on, but having seen Dead Reckoning, it will be so much easier for you to understand everything. I did enjoy this one. There is action. Some of the scenes were really cool, and the stunts, I mean, wow. Wow. The fact that currently a Mission Impossible film won't win a Best Stunts Oscar because that category isn't coming until 2028 is just absolutely crazy talk. Like, this franchise deserves one of those at a minimum. Every time I watch one of these films, I just genuinely can't believe that Tom Cruise and his team just do some of this themselves. Like, it's actually mind-blowing what they do in these films. If you love the action and the stunts and the thrill of what comes in all of the previous films, you're in for a treat because it all comes in this one. The action also came with tension and suspense. The casual, does he do it? Does he not? Does he run out of time? Do they run out of time? Does he survive? They go underwater, planes, a lot of fight scenes. They are so fun. They are very classic tropes to use in action films to keep the thrill and the tension, but it does work. I was sitting thinking, come on, Ethan, like, you don't have much time to do this, man. And when things don't go to plan, because they never do, I've got that frustration, which is what the film is going for. And on that front, I really enjoyed this film. If you're going to the screening just wanting Tom Cruise action and stunts, if that's all you want, you will really like this one. I'm really sorry, but I think there is something missing here, though. Now, I know I said I'd rewatch all of the Mission Impossible films, and I know I didn't. I only watched Dead Reckoning the same day of my screening. And they do have a few callbacks to the other installments, but it wasn't a lack of understanding on my part. I just think there's way too much exposition compared to the action. I know that they've got to have exposition to set the action up, but in a 2-hour, 50-minute film, I really felt like more action was needed because this exposition was, dare I say, a little boring. I genuinely was thinking going into this screening that a lot of the exposition dumping happened in Dead Reckoning. And I felt this way to some extent about Dead Reckoning, but I feel like it wasn't as bad as it was here, just because I think at least when you watch part 1, you still have that sense of questioning about what's going to happen in part 2, so it does put less stress on the worthiness of the exposition there. Nothing much happens until the second half of the film, and they're trying to explain this AI stuff all over again, and they made it a lot more complex than it needed to be. They do explain it better in Dead Reckoning. I get why they're trying to do it, to sort of fill you in, to try and make sure you remember, but I feel like it was just explored better in Dead Reckoning. I do want to say this is not me going, I want all action. Give me all action, Tom. That's not what I'm saying, because one, that's not what I want. I don't want a film that's all action. And two, it's just not realistic. Like, if there was a film with all action and no story, I'd be bored. That may not sound right, but I would be bored. This is me saying I wanted more from the story, because the action scenes I saw, I really enjoyed. And with a stronger story and a bit more action, and earlier action as well, let's not wait an hour and a half, this would have been better for me. But I still want to say thank you to Tom Cruise and the team for just constantly putting themselves through all this just for our entertainment. Okay, story aside, the film is enjoyable. If you want to turn off for 3 hours and just watch an action film to escape, this one works. If you want the Tom Cruise action stunts, if that's all you want, you got it in this one. I do also think it is a pretty decent entry into the Mission Impossible franchise. It's better than the first 3 for me. Just doesn't quite reach the levels of Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout. But I do think general audiences and Mission Impossible fans would like this one. But again, I just wish there was a little more to it. I wish it was bigger. So I give Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning 3.5 stars. I will rewatch this though, just to see if this was an initial reaction, and maybe I should just get over it. But it's going to be some investment to watch a 3-hour film in a week where there are 4 other films out this week, and every time I say I'm going to rewatch it, other than Thunderbolts, I haven't actually done it. Like, I still want to do my Mickey 17 rewatch. Comes out on 4K next week in the UK. That's my rewatch. That's my Mickey 17 rewatch. If you've seen Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, please let me know what you thought. And if you liked the review or didn't, if you agreed or disagreed, please let me know. Please like and subscribe. It would be absolutely much appreciated. And I will see you in the next.